Well, good morning, folks, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. A very warm welcome, as usual, back to What's for Tea. And it is lovely to see you all again. Thank you very much for popping over, like I said, just to check out this wee, very simple recipe for a festive Black Forest loaf cake. Now, this is a far simpler version of a Black Forest Gateaux. I've done a Black Forest Gateaux recipe a couple of years ago on the channel, and I will pop up a wee bit of footage here, and I'll also link the video underneath if you want to go and watch that one. But it's absolutely delicious, a classic combination of chocolate and cherry and cream, of course. And this is the Black Forest Gateaux here. Like I said, I did do it a couple of years ago, and this is a wee bit more involved, a wee bit more technical than the one that I'm going to show you today. But whatever one you end up doing, you know, none of these will disappoint. They're actually very similar in flavour. It's just that this one that you're seeing here takes a wee bit longer to do. So let's go and have a look at the ingredients that you're going to need. So this is everything that I used here, but as usual, everything that you see here, all of the ingredients along with the weights will be in the show more box underneath this video. If you just look down below, you'll find a wee downward arrow or a show more. Click on that and it'll bring everything up down there for you, just in case you want to come back at a later date and make it then. But a lot of these ingredients you'll probably find that you've got, you know, in your cupboard or in your fridge already. So yeah, it looks like quite a lot of ingredients, but it's just a wee bit of this and a wee bit of that, and it is a lot more simple than it looks. It's basically a chocolate cake covered in cream. So let's go and show you what I done and how I made it. A couple of things that I used. You're going to need some good quality cocoa, and this is one that I used, and these were the cherries that I used as well, just in case you're wondering. And this was the caster sugar that I used, but you can use ordinary caster sugar if you like. And this was the dark chocolate that I used, but again, use whatever you prefer. You are going to need a loaf tin, so a 1.5 kilo loaf tin lined, and you know, just grease your pan and then line it with baking paper or greaseproof paper, parchment paper, however you like to call it. So first thing we're going to do is get our butter into a bowl and the chocolate, and we're just going to melt these two together in the microwave. Just do them in maybe 30-second bursts, give it a wee stir and keep going until it's nice and liquidy. Set that to the side to cool down for a wee while, and we're going to get our dry ingredients together. So into a bowl pop your self-raising flour, followed by your cocoa, and then your sugar, and you just want to pass all of these ingredients through a sieve just to make sure they're nice and lump free. Then once everything is sieved, I just like to go through and stir everything together until it's all the one colour and it's all nicely combined. And then to that I'm going to add the melted chocolate and butter. Give it a wee move around so that when you put your eggs in, you know, they're not touching that warm chocolate. You don't want your eggs to scramble. And then to that you're going to add your milk. And I'm using an electric whisk just to get all these things together. But you can just do this by hand if you prefer. And once it's looking like this, you know, that's you done. Just make sure you don't spray everywhere like I've done. Try and use a bigger bowl than I've done. And then you want to pop half of your cherries in. So that can of cherries I've just drained. I've put the juice to one side. I'm using half the cherries in my batter, and I'm going to keep the other half for the top, just for decoration. Give it a wee stir around, just to make sure everything is nicely combined. And then you can grab your loaf tin, and you just want to fill your loaf tin. You want it just over halfway. So if you've got smaller loaf tins, you can do this in 2 loaf tins. That's what I actually done. So you want to pop this into the oven for an hour, and this is your temperatures here. And then grab your cakes out of the oven, pop in a skewer or a knife into the middle. If it comes out clean, then you know that they're ready. So you want to let these cool in their tins for a wee while. And pop them out and take your paper off, or peel it down, just like this. And don't worry about that cracking on the surface, because we are going to get rid of that. You know, it's been in the oven for an hour. It's going to be a bit crispy on the top, but we're going to take that away. And look how beautiful that is. It's got a lovely, light, bubbly, airy texture. So with a serrated knife, carefully go along the top and slice a thin layer off. You just want to get rid of that hard cracking on the top. But keep that to the side because I'm going to make these into crumbs and pop a wee bit on the top as well. Everything can be used. And then pop it back into your tin in the paper. And there's a reason for this, and I'll explain when we get there. Whilst it's still warm, you want to grab some of your cherry syrup from the tin and just put on a few tablespoons into the sponge. This is going to get, make it lovely and moist and have a lovely cherry flavour. Allow your cake to cool completely and then you can do your topping. So that's just 400ml of double cream. I'm going to pop in a wee dash of almond, or you could put in maybe vanilla or something like that. 1 tablespoon of icing sugar, and that's just to give your cream a nice flavour instead of just plain cream. Mix that together until it's nice and stiff like this. You do want it quite stiff because we're going to pop this on top. You don't want it running down the sides of your cake, and that was one of the reasons for keeping the paper in there, because that's going to act as a kind of dam and it's going to prevent your cream from, like I said, sliding down the sides. We're going to pop this back into the fridge for about an hour or half an hour, depending on how cold your fridge is, just until it's set. Because we're going to remove that from the tin, peel down your paper, and your cream will stay where it is, just like magic. So yeah, just lift this off of your paper and you can discard your paper now. We're finished with that. And doesn't it look wonderful already? I mean, you could just serve this as it is, but I'm going to jazz it up a wee bit. I'm just using the remaining cherries that I've got left. We'll just pop these on the top. Don't worry if there's any bleeding from the cherries because we're going to be putting some cherry juice or syrup on top anyway. And optional, you don't have to put these on, but I had some flaked almonds in the cupboard, so I've popped some flaked almonds on, and that goes nice with the almond flavouring that's in the cream. Some of those cake crumbs and some of that cherry syrup from the can of cherries. But again, you can leave out as much or add as much as you want. The other cake that I done, I only used the cherries and the cherry juice, and it just looks far simpler. So we're going to cut a couple of slices just to let you see what it looks like inside. And yeah, absolutely perfect. The cream is standing proud of the cake, and it's the cake itself has got a lovely, bubbly, airy texture, and it's full of moisture from that lovely cherry syrup that we put on earlier. And I'll just cut another slice just to let you see again. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. And you can just see the cherries poking through the cake there. So maybe you'll be lucky and get a cherry in your slice. It's a bit of a lottery. So that was my wee recipe for the loaf, the loaf cake, Black Forest Gateaux loaf cake, whatever you want to call it. But before I move on, thank you again to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page, and also to the new channel members here on YouTube. It's very much appreciated, guys, so I really do appreciate that. And thank you all for watching and commenting and liking and sharing and all the wonderful things that you do week after week. That is also very much appreciated. So thank you, like I said in the beginning, for coming over just to check this wee recipe out. And if you do end up doing it, remember and follow me over on Instagram and tag me in your pictures or send me your pictures, because so many of you do that now, and I'm always chuffed to see them because some of them are amazing and look better than mine. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I will be back later on. I've just had my wee snack surprise box for November arrive, so I'm going to film that and I'll either upload that tonight or tomorrow. But whenever you decide to join me again, mind to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you back here on What's for Tea off soon. Bye for now. Bye now.